Ladies and gentlemen, I am Chris Frost. I was Treasurer last Trinity, so I've been out of the loop for a year, but I thought I'd come back in, given that there's been a bit of a quandary, dilemma going on this term, and I feel I'm the man to fix it. I think, for example, tonight we've heard a lot about reform. We've heard a lot about transparency. But to be honest, I don't think that, from what I hear, anyone really has the answers, but I think I do. I mean, having looked at my opponents' manifestos, I've seen one candidate in particular has, they've gone into the fact that a lot of candidates for president or for office tend to use it for...
Please don't refer to the other candidates.
Apologies. You could hypothetically use your manifesto to discuss how you feel that the candidates for president shouldn't be doing it for their professional career or their political career. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is all hypothetical from the other candidates, but the fact of the matter is, I already have a position at a top investment bank. And I run my professional career if I am to win. I have also been referred in 2 national newspapers as both cruel and arrogant, which sounds negative, but at the same time as a leading student Tory. So I feel on that basis, I also don't necessarily need to use it for my political career. So on that note, I think I am, for this transparency talk, the most qualified candidate. But I don't want to talk about my record, although, arguably I am the most experienced candidate running. I'd rather talk about what I intend to do for the union. And like I said, I know how we can solve our problems. I think at the moment we are seeing too much corruption. We're seeing debates skewed to one side too much. And I say, for example, tonight, there is a question before the House in a public business meeting, and it will be, this House believes that
private schools.
Private schools do more harm than good. Now, that's a debate that, at the same time, in my opinion, it encourages too much left-wing debate. And as far as I'm concerned, there's far too much of that going around the union. And if you look at the results of debates that have been passed, it tends to skew to the left rather than skewing to the right. I pledge that if I am to be elected, we will only have sound right-wing debate. For example, there will be no room for left-wing dissent. An example motion that I will probably implement when I win is debating the merits of, say, Margaret Thatcher over Winston Churchill. Just one example that I feel we could do. I mean, anyone that's perused my manifesto will also have seen that I didn't really enjoy the debates when I was Treasurer, which I didn't. I largely had to sit through them because it was my constitutional duty. I felt I was elected to raise money and stuff, which I did, but I was mostly at lunch. But I did sit through them. But they were too long, so they will be shortened. And according to my manifesto, they will also be moved to 5 a.m. so that people get up in the morning and attend them. So let's be clear, debates will be shortened, and debates will also skew towards the right rather than currently skewing towards the left. So I feel as though that's a way to end corruption. I think also a problem that we've seen in this term, obviously, that's one of the key problems that I've identified after 3 years of involvement. But one of the second key problems, I think, is that people tend to see, corruption, for example, or bias, invitations to president's drinks, what have you. I feel that a lot of the problems we've seen are actually because there has been a lack of loyalty to the president. I think, we see a lot of snakes, and they do not respect the president's authority, and I feel that authority has to be respected. So, rather than seeing an end to cronyism, we'll probably see it increase under my tenure in office. For example, I have control over the appointed officials. They will largely be my friends. GLOs, they get to go to dinner, they get to go to president's drinks, which I'll move on to in a minute, but they won't, they'll be my friends. I'll be having a good time drinking with my friends. Don't forget, guys, that whoever does...
On that point, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, you do accept that you're one of the least popular living organisms in Oxford. How does society possibly function when you have so few friends?
Let me address that point. Well, I feel GLO is really a role at the moment that is enjoyed, there's not a lot of work involved. But for those that do run, obviously the committee will need to be filled with some people. But following in ex-president, who was it, Ash Sanger, my opponents who didn't support me, for example, the Secretaries Committee, will be ordered to go out and collect the numbers of ants that I think.
Just quickly about Bridge. One point about Bridge.
Like I said in my manifesto, I have attended 85% of Bridge Club, for those of you who don't attend, over the last 2 years. And President's drinks, I think, we repeatedly hear about this as being a problem. And
Just quickly. Just let him finish. The man has some more important words.
I will end President's drinks and have a weekly Bridge pre-lash for all members, regardless of how close you are to me, and it will be enjoyed by all. And for that reason, I beg you to support my bill.
Back to bid! Back to bid!